Welcome, my beautiful people.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for tuning in. And I am excited. I'm excited about this topic that we have. And I know that Kamiko is going to lead us off in this. She is awesome in this field, and she's passionate about this. And myself, um, so we want to bring this awareness. We just want to welcome you and hope you're able to share with others. And I'm going to allow Kamiko to go ahead. And for those of you watching us for the first time, I am Dawn Saunders. I am a nurse by profession. I'm a registered nurse by profession, and I'm also a minister. And I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a wife. So I this topic hits me in all area, and I'm concerned about our children, our young women, and even our boys because they are also targeted. So our topic today that we're going to discuss, and I'm going to let Kamiko start off and get expound on that, and it's human trafficking. So go ahead, Kamiko. I'm going to sit in the back seat for a minute.
Hello, everybody. Kamiko, as Donna said. I am, if you are watching us for the first time, as Donna said, I'm a minister, a mother. Um, I am also a private nanny by profession. I also do, so many other different things. I am the founder of Visible Roots, and we service the community by bringing awareness to topics and issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. And not only that, we do outreaches servicing the homeless and people that are having financial trouble and emotional troubles as well. So we are wanting to bring this topic today. The topic that we want to talk about today is human trafficking. It is a topic that we hear things about here and there, but this is something that continually happens in our community to our girls, our boys, our young kids, and also our older teenage kids. So this is a growing issue that has been going on, not just in other countries, but this happened in the United States, and it also happens in our cities, in Atlanta, wherever you're watching us from. It happens all over, and so we want to just talk about that a little bit today to just bring some awareness to this. It is a very very sad topic, but it's something that happens. And so we want to discuss it. And so that's what we do here on Free Talk Friday. We like to bring topics about things that are actually happening and things that are affecting us in our families and in our communities. And this is something that is huge, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, black or white, young or old. They Human trafficking affects us all. So we want to just really dive into that. I encourage you to please put your questions and comments and all of that in. And we want to acknowledge you, and we want to acknowledge your question and your comments, and also display them for the people to see that will watch this. So I thank all of you for coming on today. This is a topic that is just a huge thing that's happening, but we don't hear as much as we should. That's my personal opinion, that we don't hear as much about it as we should. So we want to just talk about that today. Don is back now. Is there anything you want to add, Don, before we get right on into
I
the midst of it?
think it's pretty good. Yes. So go ahead. I'm just riding along.
All right, all right. Well, we want to talk about human trafficking. So, what is human trafficking, right? So, let's just start there. Human trafficking is when our children or even older people now, it used to be a time past when it was just kids, children, where they are abducted. They're taken and they're sold on the black market. They are prostituted. They are held up in a place away from their family, and they're mistreated, tortured, used as sex slaves, and a number of other different things, being abused physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, in all different ways. Like there's just so much. The definition of it is broad, but to narrow it down is when our children or our loved one is taken from us and forced to do things that they don't want to do,
Mhm.
basically. So, and it, and they're taken to other countries, and some is even done here in our own communities. A lot of times we just don't know about it.
That's right.
So we want to just, go into that. We want to talk about what human trafficking is, um, how to be aware of it, what to look for, and some things to help prevent this from happening. It used to be, a lot of, I used to hear a lot on the news where they were talking about people riding around in a white van, and to let our kids know, and if you see a white van with no markings on it, stay away from it. Try not to park by it. Those are still valid things to keep in mind because it still happens that way too. But now, being that we're moving so much into um, uh, uh, age of just technology and all of this, with social media, with um, all of the social media platforms, and with the ride shares and all of that, it's made it easier for these predators to seek out our family members and our loved ones. It makes it easier. So there are things called cyber stalking. That's when people, they stalk you over social media. So they will watch you over there when you put things on the internet. When they hack in your page and find out who your friends are, who your family are, your address, your phone number. And for those of us who put things on there that are, everything that we do, like some people are, they're very open. Good morning, Patrice. Thank you for being on here. It's, some people are very open on social media. So they put their day to day, of what they're doing during the day. Well, there are some people that watch these things. If they watched it, if you're targeted, they look at these things. I was just watching on the news, I think it was yesterday, where they were talking about how the bumper stickers are a way that some predators can find out more about you and put you in danger of being hacked, having your identity stolen, or anything like that. The bumper sticker that says that we are that tells how many children. You see the ones on the back window that got the children, three children, the mom and dad and the dog. The stick people. The ones that say that you're military, the ones that say that you're a soccer mom, the one that say that my kid is a honor roll student at St. Joseph High School, or elementary school. All of these things are what some people watch. These predators watch these things. They were talking about it just on the news
Wow.
yesterday, that they gather information about you if they're targeting you. So these are just things that we have to be aware of. And I know this is not to put fear in anyone, but it's really to just make you aware of what's going on in our world today. This is happening.
Yes.
This is happening. So the cyber trafficking is a huge one. I can't tell you how many times I got a notification saying that your Facebook page has been hacked. I've gotten that so many times where they hack the page and then send requests to all your friends or ask for money
Hmm.
or something like that to all your friends, and the people that are in your friend list on those social media platforms. So these are things to just look out for. Be mindful of the things that you put out there, that you put out there on social media. Don't try not to give out too much information. We used to tell our kids when computers first became, well, not when it first became, but when it was, began to become more and more And when our children begin to be on it more and more, don't give out your
Yes.
personal information on there. Don't give anyone your address, your phone number. Don't, no matter who they say they are, there's a thing called catfishing. So, no, no matter who they say they are, just try not to give out all of this, personal information on there, because there are predators out there that watch and look for these things.
You see what Patrice said? She tried to post locations in a delayed format, meaning I post where I was not where I am currently.
That's a good thing,
That's
Patrice.
a good thing.
That's a good tactic right there. It really is. That's a good tactic.
I just stopped, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Kamiko, because that is a really big thing. It's even increased now that during this pandemic. So, like I've mentioned before, we are having a medical pandemic, but there's always been a pandemic in the pandemic because cyber trafficking, human trafficking, been around for ages since as early as the 1900s, early 1900s, 1929, somewhere there. But the fact that you brought this cyber trafficking up is so important because we have children now that are just constantly on the internet because number one, they're bored, they're not physically going to school, and they're entertaining themselves with all sorts of things. And per se, although we may have some child proof, that doesn't always go. We have children now that are so intelligent, like my son, he's very intelligent. And almost like sometimes he's saying he's teaching me, and he's 7. I'm telling you, these children are so brave and brilliant that parents have to really crack down on what they're watching. Try to constantly check on them to see how they're watching, see what they're doing and see how they're doing it, because that cyber stalking, that cyber trafficking, that cyber attraction, they are getting them through that. And I know Kumiko's gonna, I don't want to jump ahead of her, but I just wanted to touch on that because your children, your sons, your daughters, the young teenagers, young adults are engaging so much in this cyber talking, and it's leading up to a lot of stuff. I've watched documentaries on it. I've watched videos that talks about, it is a big thing right now.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's true. Because you get on there, and now a lot of them that are doing the gaming too, that they are talking to their friends on there, and they become friends, especially now since a lot of kids have been out of school. So they're on there a lot. They're talking to these people, and they don't know who
Hmm.
they're really talking to. They just know who they say they are, you
Right.
know. And so they're becoming friends with these people. For instance, my son is 16. He loves his game, he loves the Xbox. He talks to a specific group of people on there when he plays these different games. They game together. But
Hmm.
they've been playing together so long until they really feel that they know each other. And that's the danger of it,
Hmm.
because you don't know them. You're only playing the game with them. You've been playing for a long time, yes, but you don't know them. You don't know who you're talking to. This
So
person that says that they're 16 could be 46.
yes.
You don't know. And that's the danger of it. That we sit and we talk, and even when we do these other social media things and put all of this stuff out here, we have to be mindful when we're doing even the TikTok and all of these, even Zoom and all these different things. When we're showing our home life, we're showing where we are, what we live, what's in our homes, and all of that. That can make us a target as well. So we have to look at all of these things.
And that's why you have to be professional in your presentation. You have to be, and I know our company does a lot of Zoom, like Teams. We used to do Skype a lot, but we do a lot of Teams. And although we may not show our face, but there's some instances where we have to show our faces. And that's one of the recommendations, even for Zoom etiquette. You want to make sure that you are minimizing the appearances of your house, whether it's your house, your office, and just be very minimal in what you show. And that's a good point, Kamiko, because um, like Patrice again, thank you, Patrice. She says it's true, even though she said true about the games. And my husband plays with my son, and he plays with his older brothers, and we have to tell him because there are people that is in that game that talks. So I'm constantly, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? And his dad set him up where he can, talk to his brothers. But I'm telling you, nothing is safe. So you still, although you may have a lock on your door, you still have to make sure you check,
That's right.
because people are known how to get in any way they want. And it's the same thing with these cybers, videos, the same thing with the internet. Everything that you made child proof or adult proof or person proof, a hack is out there that can go around it and still bring in a leak. So
That's right.
you know, I agree. We have to always be on the alert. We have to watch out for the what she say. She watch Law and Order, and those things might be just movies, but they're true.
They're
Mhm.
true. They're true. That's it. And so that is just one area that we wanted to mention first. But we can, like, literally, that's such a high area that's where we are right now. We are in that. Is where we are. The next thing I would like to mention, to just be aware of and be mindful of, is ride sharing. Right? Ride sharing. Now
Wow.
we have Lyft and Uber, right? And now there are more. you know. So we want to make sure that when we're doing these shares, these ride shares, that we check on the app if their tag is accurate and it is the person who's in the picture and that it is the right car. We want to check that. That's a huge thing. That's also made it easy for people to adopt our children and our friends and family, you know. And so we just, it's important that when we're doing these ride shares, very popular thing now. Before it was you carpooling with people or people you work with. Now you can get a ride share other than a taxi driver that works actually for a company. You got a ride share where people are using their own cars, their own personal vehicles to pick you up and take you where you want to go. You
Mhm.
have to keep in mind that they're picking you up sometimes from your home.
Mhm.
When you get in, you find that these people make conversation. They want to know you. They want to know, they want to make conversation to know more about you. If you're picking up from your home, one thing that I used to do, if I'm going to get a ride share from my home, I'll walk up a bit and then I'll request them. They can pick me up from that point, but
Mhm.
not directly at my home, because now they know where I live. And especially if you do it, on a constant basis,
Mhm.
they know now that this is where you live. Now, a few years ago, we had the Super Bowl here in Atlanta, and there was such a rise in human trafficking
Mhm.
that night.
Yes. Yes.
It
Yes.
was crazy because people were leaving there, going into the ride share, and the people are taking them
Mhm.
because a lot of them were drunk.
Mhm.
Some of them were by themselves, But a lot of people were abducted and taken into sex trafficking and human trafficking that night.
Mhm.
So beware when we're having these events and these big things and we're using the ride shares.
Mhm.
One thing about it, don't go by yourself. Be with somebody. You know, even Jesus sent them out two by two.
Yes, he
So
did.
try to remember that. Don't go by yourself. You know, I used to be notorious for going places by myself. I just get in there and go. It can be all times of the night, morning, whatever. If I, I would just get up and go. I would go on vacation by myself. I would stay in hotels in strange places where I'm not. I would just go by myself. But now that I'm older, wisdom say, let somebody know where you are. They have apps on your phone that's called Glimpse.
Glimpse.
Glimpse on your phone. It's an app. You can add people that you know and love on there, and they can track where you are along your trip.
Is that G? That's new for me. I never
It's
heard of that.
G L. I think
IMPS.
GLYMPS. I
Oh,
think
to
it's
add
called
family
Glimpse.
member.
You can add family member, friends, whoever you want to add to it, and you can put them in there, and they will track your ride along the way.
Mm,
So if
I
you're
like
heading to
that.
travel, they can see where you are at all times. If you stop at the store, they'll see that you stopped somewhere in this area right here. So if something happens, then someone would know. So there's been cases too where people that have gone on trips and driving and all of this, and they stop at these rest areas. That's also become a hot spot for people
Oh yes, the
that
rest
do sex.
going into the bathrooms,
Yes,
the restrooms.
yes.
Yes,
And they watch you as you go in there, and
my
then
my
they try to take
sister,
you to come
my
out.
sister-in-law was attacked on one
Wow,
of those in the bathroom.
wow,
Lucky thing, they took all her stuff, robbed her, and she was safe, but mentally she was shook up because
yes,
could have killed her.
yeah, yeah. I heard a story of a lady who her and her daughter stopped at a rest area. Good morning, Veronica,
Good.
and welcome. We're talking about human trafficking today.
Yes.
So this lady and her daughter were traveling. They stopped at this rest area, and the daughter had her seat reclined back. So
Mm-hmm.
it looked like just the mother was in there.
Oh.
So this van pulls up beside her. She goes to the bathroom. She comes out, and the people get out of the van to try to meet her and snatch her and put her in the car. They almost got her in the car. Then the daughter wakes up, sit up, and see them. When they see the daughter, she fights them off. They let her go, and they leave.
Wow. And another tip is don't park next to those vans or big
Yes.
trucks or um just high rise vehicles,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Well,
number
people
one,
can
they
see
can
it.
see into your car.
Right.
And they broke into my car. It was a rent a car 2 years ago. And I remember parking next to that vehicle. It was on my job where I worked in the parking lot. And I remember, and I was trying to hide my purse,
Hmm.
and they saw, and sure enough, they broke the window and took all my stuff. But I've learned don't park next to those if you can absolutely help it,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's target for sex traffickers.
That's right. And you know what? You want to keep constant visibility to the people around you. You want them to be able to see you
Hmm.
and you to be able to see people. So if you see that there's a bigger vehicle that's bigger than yours and there's one on the other side too, do not park in the middle of those. Avoid those. You may have to walk a little further, you may have to, but try to avoid those,
Hmm.
and that way, you can see and people can see you. But if there's a van and someone slides the door over, you get open and you're getting out of your car, someone snatches you in, no one can see that. You
Right.
know, people can miss that. So just keep a constant visibility of that. So yeah, so that's a huge thing with the ride share. Make sure when you're when you're requesting a Uber, a Lyft, or taxi, that the person's uh, name is what it is, that it is the person who it is, it's the car, because they're going to show you the car and the color of the car, and
Hmm.
that the tag is what it is.
That's good. That's
They,
good.
they should also, you should ask these questions, check this out before you get in the car. Let them roll the window down. They should know your name. If they don't know your name, they are not your Lyft or Uber driver. I
Yeah.
had someone to come pick me up. They saw that it was my daughter's name. He said he was in a different car because his other car was in the shop. I had to remember, I had to square off a bit because I was like, okay, so you on this craziness right now. So I told my son, I said, okay, step back, you know, because I'm trying to. I'm right now. I'm on defend mode, right? I'm on protect mode. So he was gonna have to go with some, you know. And so, but he came. He got out of his car and came over. Said he's in another. I said you should be on a. Well, my other car's in the shop. I said
Hmm.
no, sir. I think you need to leave. You know. And so you have to be where if you're late for work, be late for work. Call
Yeah.
another list. Call another. Be late. Be late. It's okay. Be late because if you're trafficked, if you're abducted, you're gonna be really late.
You may never. You
Yeah,
may
yeah,
just be on time for your funeral, or just be never found. You know.
that's right. Veronica said always call someone on cell when entering parking decks alone, day or night too. That is great, Veronica. That
Yeah.
is true. You want to make sure you're on the phone. That's something I practice a lot. You
Hmm.
want to make sure you are on the phone.
Yeah, I do. I keep
Yes.
fine, especially if I have to, go anywhere or come in pretty late. I do because anything happens, they lurk around, they watch, and I live in a fairly a decent neighborhood.
Hmm.
But long time ago, Beverly Hill Times, I want to say. People didn't just break into people's homes and go in. So those neighborhoods usually can leave their doors open. I mean,
Right.
long gone that anymore because recently they had broken into my car. Come to find out, they did like my whole subdivision. They just went on a spree where they thought everyone was sleeping. The camera that we have was not in a certain position to it. So it's almost like you just might as well just surround your whole house or your building or everything because people are going around the Beverly Hill Times. People are attacking so you're moving per se from a lower economic neighborhood to a higher neighborhood, higher economic status where you feel that it's a little bit safer, you have more security, but that doesn't matter anymore. People are attacking every way.
This is
Their sex trafficking is high in those neighborhoods because guess what? They don't think parents are looking out. They
right.
don't parents because we trust the neighbors, we trust the neighborhood.
Yes.
So those little trucks will roll right in, and before you know it, you're calling for Johnny, Susan, where are you? No sound to be heard because somebody done took off with your child. So yes, we have to be mindful of all area, of all atmosphere. If you're in, I don't care, you're unless you're in heaven, then you don't worry. But
Okay.
no. So then go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, 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 no. You're good. And you made a great point. You know, sometimes when we're in these areas, we feel that we're safe just because this area has this pristine name. You know, but you know, human traffickers don't care about that. They don't care about the name. You can be an easy target because of that.
Mhm.
And so I'm glad that's leeway into our next way that we can prevent this and things to watch out for. And when you were talking about your neighbors, so neighboring your neighbor, neighbor your neighbor. What I mean about that is
Yeah.
start watching. Start watching out for your neighbor. If you see something strange, let them know. Know your neighbor. Get to know them. Back in the day, we knew all of our neighbors. We knew them. We knew their names. We can go to their house. We borrow sugar, and you know, you just know your neighbor. Your kids go over there. Their kids come over here. You know,
Yeah.
knew them. But nowadays, we become so busy. You
Mhm.
can live by somebody for 5 years and don't even know their last name.
Yeah.
Never said anything past hi to them. You know, and it gives that appearance that, oh, you don't want to get in their business and you don't
Business.
want to do that. But you
Mhm.
know what, we want to be in their business. We want to neighbor our neighbor, get
Mhm.
to know our neighbor, you know, like
That's
they used
a
to
good
do.
one.
Somebody moves into the town, take them some cookies over there and say, welcome, hey, I'm right here, you
People
need
don't
some
do
help.
that anymore,
They
you
don't do
know?
that anymore. They don't do that anymore. You know, and that is important. That's the beginning of building a relationship with your neighbor. Because if your neighbor is out of town, you see strange cars in there and you know your neighbor's out of town, you know no one should be at their home. You
Hmm.
can call
And
your neighbor and say,
as nosy as you think they're really like our little security
they
officers.
are.
You
They
know? So
really are. The definition of neighborhood watch. They are watching everything.
everything, I'm telling you. Just a little quick joke. I have to say this real quick because when you mentioned that, you know, I have another house in Snellville, and I never forget it. One of my pastor lady from church, she kept coming because I would, I just take forever to move in, and I had moved over to the other new house, so she kept coming to visit and kept telling me, I came by your house and you're not home. I said, I'm home. She said, well, I'll try again. So this one time she went to the house, and this time she calls me on the phone because she's from Africa. They just show up, and she shows up. So she's been going there, and she shows up. And so finally she just called me on the phone. Why are you not answering the phone? Why are you not opening the door? I'm coming, I'm buying, nobody's here. And I said, I'm here. I'm in the house. This is my other house. So she said, nobody's answering. So finally I said, I have not moved into that house yet, because I had explained to her where it was and all of this. And she said, no wonder that lady came out and said to me, can't you see no one is home? They're not there yet. Quit banging on that woman's door. They have not moved in yet.
Right.
I was livid. I was so out, so that lady, she's always watching, but guess what? You never see her.
Yep.
Only one or two times I've seen her just going into her car and when she's leaving, but you never see that woman. And
Yep.
she's always watching. And it's the
Yep.
same thing with this house that I'm here, this other neighborhood. They are always watching, but
Yeah.
you never know who is watching.
That's right. That's right. And you know that can be a good thing. It
Hmm.
really can because you get these we can't see everything, but when you're inside your house and there's a strange car that keeps driving by slowly watching, that nosy neighbor sees that car.
Hmm.
They can tell you the make, the model, and how many people was in it.
And I don't mean to jump over you because these are
No,
real
go
life
ahead.
situation I want to say. And going back to the neighborhood again, there was, and I'm so glad people, whether they're nosy neighbors or just your neighbors who are cool with you.
Yeah.
The whole point of what Kamiko is saying is so vitally important because we have in that same neighborhood, that other house, you know, one of my sister, her son was, outside. Him and the other children were outside playing, and it was the neighbor who was sitting on her area, in her driveway, called my sister and said, there's a strange man, driving along offering a
Yeah.
dollar,
Ah,
dollar to, so she wants to know, do you know this person? And that's how, now they're right in the driveway, and he is calling them, offering them money.
yeah.
If she wasn't out there, checking, we thank God we teach our children not to take money from strangers. But why are you driving up and down? It could be pedophilia. It could be
Yep.
a person who's trying to grab one of those child or see who is sensitive. And it's been known he's been kind of driving in the neighborhood. So you're right. We have to be watching
Yeah.
cars, strange things, consistencies, because they're consistent in tracking us and
Oh
what.
yeah, they're consistent.
So yeah, be mindful of that.
They're consistent. This is true. And so that's why, it's just good to know some people in your neighborhood because, you may not, we can't be everywhere at the same time. Your kid could
Right.
be outside playing and you can have dinner cooking in the house and go in the house for one moment to check them out,
Hmm.
come back, your kid's gone. Things happen very quickly. But if you have a neighbor, that's watching, that can be something that can save your kid's life. That can save, you know, get the police on it and tell them who the car was, what, all of these different details that you would need. So yeah, it's just good. So the next one that we're going to talk about is this one, your daily routine.
Daily routine. Love.
All right. Now we look, some people do the same thing every day, go the same route every day to work and back. They run and walk the same walk, exercising every day.
Yeah.
Kids walk to school the same way every day and come back. These are areas where predators can target us.
Hmm.
Every now and then, you should change your route, go a
Hmm.
different way to work, go a different way to come home. Because now, there, if someone is watching and targeting you, that that throws them off. It's not a routine. They can't put a timeline on it,
Hmm.
so it makes it difficult. So
For the
that's why, right, right. And the same is with us working out, going for walks and jogs, because we'll go and sometimes we're by ourselves. So when you're going through these paths and on these trails and all of this,
hmm
if you're being targeted or watched, then they can notate your routine, the time you come out every morning, the route you take, and the time you come back. They can notate these things, and that way that you become more of a target for those
yeah,
that could be watching.
they're watching.
Yes. Now our kids that are walking back and forth to school. First off, we need to let our kids know not to walk alone. They should be walking in groups. They should be walking in groups, two or more, more if possible. If they're going to walk home from school, if they're going to walk to the park by themselves or walk to the playground by themselves, let them go together with someone, not by themselves. Just our daily routine, sometimes we ought to mix it up a bit,
Hmm.
go a different route, do a different thing, so that people that could be watching you can't form some sort of plan according to your schedule.
Hmm. And the
So,
same thing with your home.
uh,
Do they watch you according to your car? Because now most people working from home,
yes,
and they're watching the routine to see, okay, is the husband leaving at what time? So you can change things up, take
Yes.
a different car, or,
Yes.
whatever the possibility might be, because
Yes.
it's not always, the same. And when it's not always the same, you're going to surprise some people, because even though my car is not out there, that doesn't mean I'm not home.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that kind of that confuses them. That lessen the chance of someone breaking in your home, trying to abduct you, your kids, or doing
Right.
something crazy like that. It really does help when you break things up. Now, I am a systematic type person. I like systems of the things that I do. I like to work on systems. I get
Mhm.
up, do the same. I. But a while back, somebody said that to me. You should mix it up a little bit. You should probably go a different route. And from that point on, I started going different routes. I started doing things a little bit differently. And just to mix things up, because I was a loner at one point. I would do things by myself, no problem. No problem. Would love my alone time, would just absolutely love it. I'm going places, I'm traveling all over, doing all these different things. And so it's good to just mix it up a bit. And we're going to talk about one other thing, and then we're going to, try to close out because probably we're coming up on our little time. So this thing is Airbnbs and hotels and travel. When you are traveling, you are going to a place where you're not usually
Close the
at.
door.
You're going to these places and you're staying in a place where you're not normally, this is not where you're used to going. So take someone with you, let someone know where you are
Mhm.
all the time. Let someone know where you're staying. you know let someone know where you are staying. Let someone know when you're going. Don't do it all by yourself. Even if you're going, you and a girlfriend, still let somebody know, or you and your husband, or the husband and their wife, or whatever. Still let someone know that's not on your trip with you where you are, where you're going to be staying. you know what you send an agenda. If you have activities planned and all of that, it's good to let people know what's going on with you and where you are, so that if something goes wrong, they can pinpoint where you should be at this time. So even with going in Airbnbs or yeah. Yeah, Patrice, you're on it. I'm just going on in there. The same caution goes for Airbnb hosts as well. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Now that's one of my things. Like, I love an Airbnb. Like, oh my goodness. Like,
Mhm.
I love them. But you have to be aware, and for the host too, because you don't know these people that you're letting in your home.
Right.
You don't know them, and they could be snooping through your stuff while all into all kinds of things. You never know. So we have to take those cautions. And as you're going into an Airbnb, you need to know where you're going. Now, I'm good for finding an Airbnb off in the woods somewhere, just off in the woods. And it's not, you need to let someone know where you are. Just
Mhm.
let someone know where
Do
you are.
reviews. Do reviews. I know
Do
those are not
reviews.
always
Absolutely.
accurate, but somebody should have maybe used you before, or just still do a review. I'm telling you, my sister, one of my sisters, she's good for review on everything. I said,
Yes.
you do so much reviews that you end up don't want to get nothing, but your life is important. So we have to be mindful of those things, and we should always be ready to make sure we're looking out for ourselves and our family. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Reviews are great. And if you're seeing more than one the same thing wrong in more than one, you might want to believe it. So that, is a good thing to do. Make sure you check those reviews, and then beware your surrounding too. Know where you know the surrounding. You know, if you're going to be somewhere secluded, then it's, I mean, you need to let them know. You need to let somebody else know where you are. And if you're going to be really secluded, I suggest you take someone with you. You know, take someone with you, because it is, you know, you just don't know. You know, you just don't know. And even in hotels, when you're in these hotels, you get people knocking on the door talking about
Mm-hmm.
room service.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't ordered in the room service, no, don't even crack it. Don't even open it, because
Mm-hmm.
people have been abducted that way as well.
That's right.
You know, just opening the door and think they're safe. But, you
But
know,
going back to what I want to touch a little bit on what Veronica said earlier too. She mentioned you know, know, knowing what your child is wearing or your family member is wearing. That is so true because I've known
yes,
during high school, I've known, I've never done it because I was just too scared of my parents. But I've known children who've gone to school with me who have changed their clothes, you know, what their parents know that they left with, and they're in something totally different.
yes.
I have, the only thing I think I've done is just maybe roll up my skirt to get it shorter because my mama just believed in making my skirt down past my knee because she was a seamstress. And I used to get teased, and they just don't know what parents just don't know what children go through. So, for me, I still want to feel like I'm with the cool kids, and so I used to roll my skirt up because she didn't want me to wear pants. So I used to roll my skirt up and get it above my knee. But a couple of times I forgot, and went home. Of course, I was scolded for that. But I think that is such an important aspect that, information that was provided there. We
Yeah,
have to know what our children are wearing. And even though, because, it's the same thing, your children, for me, when the kids were in the we call it the daycare or the
hmm,
school, and you had to send different clothes.
yeah,
Instantly, when I go to pick them up, I'm like, okay, what happened? Because I didn't get a report. So
yeah,
did they spill clothes? Did they pee on themselves? Or because that's not what I sent my child to school in. So if
absolutely.
they're in a different clothes, even though it's theirs, I need to know what happened.
That's right.
So paying attention to the children, your teenagers,
Yeah,
and knowing the colors, because if anything happens, God forbid it doesn't, but if anything happened, that's the first thing the police going to want to know. What were they wearing? Where did they go? What
yeah,
they look like?
yeah.
Always have pictures, current pictures of
Yes, current pictures.
stashed away. And there's this company, and forgive me, I didn't have it right here with me, but they set up where they have to uh, put your pictures, I'm sorry. My my kids is needing the bus. To God be the glory. But anyway, so they have this. I think it's part of like an insurance company where they give you like
Yes,
this
I know
package,
what you're talking about.
you
Yeah,
know, and you can register your children fingerprints because of course, you think about it. Okay, do you want your child fingerprint in the system like that? But it's it's a way for child alertness to kind of keep your children you know if anything happens, it's easy access because what it does, the fingerprint goes through this whole general system where they can access it quickly, and then you can take pictures to make sure you have the current pictures uploaded. Everything is geared to where it's easier to find your children. I think it's registered with the fire department, registered with the police department, and all of those things. And just mainly having current pictures because
yeah,
your children sometimes gain weight, they get taller, they get wider, they get thinner,
yeah,
so we, and even us as adults, our image changes.
yeah.
So like right now I got short hair. Most everybody know me with long hair. And I'm sure if anything happened to me, the first picture they're gonna pull up is the picture with, oh, this is what she looks like I do look like that, but it's the most current, up to date information is what you want to provide in
Yeah,
gaining access or help to find your children if anything happens.
that's good. That's good. That's really good. So there are some things that we want to definitely share because we want everyone to be safe and aware. When your kids are out there, when you're out there, it's not just kids, adults are being
That's right.
abducted too. And they're using too elderly people to do it. Sometimes, if that was out at one point, not very long ago, I think it probably about 2 years ago, I was hearing a lot about um, people using the elderly people wanting help, and once you help them, some people jump out and grab you or whatever, or
Mhm.
steal your purse or whatever the case may be. So just look, if listen to that inside you when you feel like this something don't feel right. This don't I don't know about this. Listen to that, don't ignore it, listen to it. And
Don't
so,
stop on late night dark roads, whether it's early or late. Dark roads is a turnoff because they're traffickers, or just abduction. People who wants to, because it's not always about sex trafficking. They want to kidnap you for slave. They want to kidnap you for organ donation. They sell your organs, so
absolutely,
that means they kill
absolutely.
you, take out your organs.
That
They
narc-
want to kidnap you for prostitution, all
mhm.
kinds of things. So those dark roads, sometimes people learn target areas, and the other area that's big is the bus stations, the when children are trying to run away. Those areas are big and high in traffickers.
Yes,
You want to learn those areas, and pay attention to when you see children just looking, wandering around, and those are signs. You may want to just call that number and say, hey, there's suspicious children just lurking around here. You may want to check them out.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So all of those places, you want to, just really look at that. Be clear with your children. Be very transparent with them in the sense of letting them know.
Hmm.
Be aware of your surroundings. Look at what's going on around you. Do not walk the street Do not walk the street with your earbuds and headphones on your ears and texting. Watch your surroundings. Take the earphones off and watch your surroundings.
Love it, love it.
You do not want to be separated from what's going on in the world. Somebody can come up behind you and you don't even hear them because your music is blaring,
That's true.
or you on Snapchat and all these up TikTok.
Oh my goodness.
So take the earbuds out. If you're going to wear your earbuds, wear one.
I do that.
Wear one. Wear one so you can hear what's going on. Your eyes need to be forward, not down, looking at your phone while you're walking.
Especially in the park by yourself.
Especially in the park, on trails, because I like doing nature trails. I love nature trails. I'm country, y'all. Look, I'm woods. I am so
Okay.
country. I am. I'm very country. So it just, I love nature walks. So I like to go out there. I stop and I look at different animals and bugs and drops and tree limbs, all kinds of stuff. It don't make, I'm just country. Yeah. So
Mhm.
you don't need to be out there with both take one out. Take one out so you can see what's going on around you, so you can hear. Tell your kids that when
Mhm.
you're out and about, do not close yourself off where you can't hear or see.
Right.
You need to be able to see and know your surroundings. I got my kids, they got tasers, pepper spray, they got all that. They do. They do. Because I want you to use pepper spray them to keep them back. And if
Mhm.
you fight through that, then you got a taser. They get too close. So I mean, and I do. I tell them, you have to be willing to defend yourself.
That's
Someone comes up, and we teach our kids not to be violent and all of this stuff, and we don't want our kids to be violent. Sorry about that. We don't want our kids to be violent, but we want them to protect themselves. Scream, yell, kick, do
Did you
all of
see
those
what Robert said?
things.
You see what Robert said? He said, "Does this mean that I need to be the same way in the spirit?" Yes, Robert.
So,
You
but
got to be protected.
you gotta
Put on your
protect
armor.
yourself. Don't have the songs in your ears so much that you don't see an enemy sneaking up behind you. I'm just saying. That's in the spirit
Oh
too.
my god. And yes, Robert, because they do, like we mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were on, but they do, they are kidnapping men too.
Yes,
No,
they are.
that's a big thing, especially since men love men and women love men. So they are doing men
Yes,
too.
they are. Yes,
Yeah.
they are. And then they would drug you. At one point, they were
Mhm.
using the perfume. You
Oh,
smell
yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
then it's something that causes you to pass out, right? So we
Mm.
just have to be aware because this is real talk. This is for real. These things are happening, and we want to be safe. So we don't want to be shut off from the world. We want to go, and even when, because and since he brought up in the spirit, look, how church folks love to go and eat after church, right? It's late. They've been in church all night. They don't want to go to Waffle House, and there's people sitting around, but they gotta eat though. They gotta eat. Look, y'all better go on home from church. Go on home. Stay out of Waffle House. Go home.
So
Go
we
home.
can't go. We can't go and have that midnight
Look,
coffee
make
like
your
I
food
like to
before
do.
you
Well,
leave.
I haven't done that now, but
Make your food before you leave. And when you get done, go home. Stay out of Waffle Houses, okay? Because we're late. And Applebee's be open at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We be trying to go up in there. We done shouted all night. So we ready to eat now.
right.
So, but yeah, well, we have to really just be aware of the things that are around us. There are predators out there. We don't want to try to make believe and be in la la land.
Hmm.
Really, this is real life, and this is the world that we're in. Evil is out there. You know, evil is out there, and it's a real thing. We are protected, but God does give us wisdom, and He does give us common sense to
Amen.
use those things.
So these are some really good points that Kamika brought up, and I know we stress a lot on prevention,
Yeah,
but I just want you, Kamika, to talk about a little bit about those who are already you know in human trafficking, who are already caught, who are already victims. What are the indicators that we're looking for, especially people who are in the healthcare system, when, because sometimes they get beat, they get sick, and they have to go to the hospital, or,
yes,
you may see them along the way, and this particular child just keeps coming more. So, there's some things like, you want to monitor as far as whether they look malnourished, their arms, because a lot of them are drugged up to do what they have to do. I'm just kind of
yes,
like, oh my God, children as 5 years old are being tried
absolutely.
to have sex with big grown men. It just blows my mind. It's just like, oh my God. And a lot of times they don't have identification, so you can't really tell, who they belong. And it's just so
Yeah,
you want to touch a little bit. I know we're out of time, but just a little bit on that, and then
yeah,
we
absolutely,
talk about where to
absolutely.
go for help, in those.
Absolutely. So yeah. So these are things that it's a sad thing because if they're being sick and having to go to the doctor, a lot of times they'll have fake IDs and things like that. But
Mhm.
some signs you can see that even if some people that are going through that, and if you're a healthcare worker, then you may be faced with it a lot more. But people that that are in school, that
Mhm.
are going to school, and you will see people being withdrawn, They don't want to do eye contact. They're fearful. They're afraid to talk extensively around their predator,
Right.
right? If they're the ones that's bringing them in the hospital or in the emergency room, they won't say much. That person will speak for them most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're fearful. They're holding themselves. They're holding themselves, and that is a sign of them trying to comfort themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that we can look for in people. And then another topic, just even, and I'm sure there are more things, but just some of the right off the top things to look for. Look for them being withdrawn and all of those type things. Just to themselves, they were talkative, now they're not. The change in their behavior, the change
And
in their attitude, all of these different things. They're jumpy, they're afraid and frightened over sounds and all of these different things. It's something to look into and not just disregard as being nothing. So for people who have been victims of that, you know that's another area, knowing how to approach them and talk to them, being patient with them. They've been through a trauma. That is trauma, that they've gone through. So knowing how really to approach them, not to try to push them or take them too fast, allow them to come along and talk about these things on their own. Allow them the space and the place really to where they feel safe enough to talk about those things. Just be there for them. It's a lot of times when people have come back, what I've heard is that they want to talk. The family member want them to talk right away. You
mm-hmm.
know, they may not be ready.
Traumatizing because they have to
Yes,
relive just
yes,
say what they've
yes.
been through.
That's
So it's so scary and
yeah.
sad,
It is.
what they go through. And just to add to the victims
Mhm.
who become victims a lot is immigrants because some
Yes.
of them don't speak English and some of them are driven out because they can't live like Americans or whatever. So a lot of them are homeless and they're on the street just trying to live, and those children are being captured, and it's almost like okay, whatever. So you
Yeah.
find they don't try to seek help because they don't know how to.
That's right.
There's so much things that goes
That's
in
right.
behind these children and family.
Yeah, yeah, and it's important to tell our children and our friends and our families and our neighbors to speak out about these things. It's not something that we want to keep quiet about. We
Mhm.
need to speak out more about human trafficking. It's so many things happen to people. You
Right.
know, there there was down in Atlanta. There was in South Atlanta. There was a human traffic ring that was happening down at one of the um, hotels, the day by day motels. It was a motel. This
Mhm.
lady had been looking for her daughter for months, thought she was gone. She was held up right in that hotel,
Mm, mm, mm,
just minutes away from home.
mm,
They held her in there as a sex slave, and they had Johns or men who wanted to prostitute them and who wanted to come and sleep with them and abuse them would
mm,
come in. They could not leave.
mm,
When
mm.
they found the place, the lady found her daughter and a lot of other teenagers that were in there. This happened minutes from where she lived. She had no clue that her daughter was held up there. So these things happen and they're for real. We just have to be aware. If we see something strange, we need to say something about it. Get somebody else in on it. Hey, look, I saw this right here. What do you think? Do something, say something about it. We have to talk about these things because people need to know. So this right here is there are some a national human trafficking hotline here. You can call this number if you suspect anything. it's 24/7, all kinds of languages. Just take this number down, put it on your right next to poison control on your refrigerator. Put this
Or
number.
in your phone, because nowadays
Put it on your phone.
everybody got to have a
Put it in your phone. Put it on the refrigerator. Whatever. Have it handy. If you suspect something like this happening while you're out and about, call this number.
phone. Hmm.
Call this number 1-888-373-7888. It's the National Human Trafficking Hotline. You can even
And
text it.
we have to, in your community, you have to rise up. You
We have,
have to rise up, take a stand. It's no longer, I was telling Kamiko earlier, I said, oh my God, you know, it's such a sensitive spot for me, but you know, when it affects you so much, you have to rise up, be an advocate, whether you want to or not, because it's not just you. It's somebody you know or a family member. It affects everyone. This is pandemic is globally.
it
It
is.
happens all around in Europe. It happens in
It
Asia.
happens everywhere.
All continents are being affected by this. Some of it is not beside the sex trafficking. Some of it they're just using these young girls, 5, 6, to be sex slaves, and that's okay, you know. But it doesn't matter what you know. We have to be advocate in finding ways that you can support. How can you, get involved? What can you do?
Yes.
And especially for the victims who have been affected, you know, Veronica says something that's powerful and it's true. It's a process for them to get back into society and feel trusted because that
Yes.
all their trust has been violated. So now they turn to they've been brainwashed to trust their trust their abuser or the person who has kidnapped them. And now that you bring them back to reality, they're like it's like trying to trust all over again. So that's why a lot of them shut down. This some of them been I was listening to a documentary where one of the girl she said sometimes 6, 7, 8 men a day she has to please sexually. And she says she's tired all the time. And if you don't do it, they put a gun to your head, threaten your life.
Listen.
And, she was rescued and was able to talk about it and take people back into the areas where they know some of the people are. And some of those people literally refuse to come because they've been been introduced to drugs, so
Yeah.
now they're crackheads and they're addicted. So it
Yeah.
not just only you can lose your child to sex trafficking, you can lose your child to drug addiction, and some of them lose their children to AIDS and HIV because it's all kinds of people coming out there now, trying to get these people because they either been infested with a disease and then they just spread it, and you have to just do it if they're getting paid for it. So it is so sad. I mean, we
It
can go on
is.
and on and on about it. But the victims who have been in it, you want to be sensitive to them. You want to prepare, find ways
Yes.
that you can advocate, form an advocate group if you can in your community. Find out what your community is doing regarding
Yes.
sex trafficking and those victims who suffered. Find out what you can do. If you're a counselor, how can you counsel those people? Who do you know that you can help them? Create toolkits that will help these women get back to optimal living. A lot of them gonna need counseling, a lot of them, and they're gonna need materials, just a home. Some of them lost their home parents or whatever necessary things that you can do to help. I think this is something that we really need to advocate.
That is true. That is true. And I think one of the best things we can do for someone who's been a victim of human trafficking or being a sex slave or anything like that, even being abducted, mentally, physically, just whatever. Anybody that's been in that situation, one of the best things we can do is let them know that you're there. Let them know that you're there for them
Hmm.
and provide a safe place for them. One big thing, there's so much. embarrassment around that, because a lot of them are addicted. They've been forced to take drugs, and they've been with multiple, you know,
Mhm.
sex partners and things like this. So much embarrassment,
Mhm.
so much, because it tears you down. It's, it makes you feel less than a person,
Mhm.
So really, just be there for them, provide a safe environment for them.
Mhm.
You know, this is not a time to call all the family members over and have a, a family gathering, a family reunion. Give them time to
Mhm.
readjust to their surroundings
Mhm.
and let people trickle in. Don't bombard them with people. They're forced to, again, in a situation where they're forced to do something.
Mhm.
It's just, just be sensitive enough to give them that space, but provide them a safe place and let them know that you are there for them. Let
Amen.
them know. Let them know. Then, there are counselors and people that specialize in these things too. So you can also set that up for them, set those things up for them where they can have the talk, where they can talk and be willing to, they know what to ask. They know how to ask these questions. They've been trained to do this. This is what they do. So let's just be a voice. Like who was that? Veronica, be a voice for somebody. I thought that was great.
Mhm.
I thought that was great. Be a voice for someone. Be a voice, because sometimes they don't know what to say. They don't know how to explain it. They don't even want to relive it. It's a terrible trauma that happens. We need to be there and we need to speak out. Use this line, the National Human Trafficking Hotline. Use it.
Mhm.
Use it. If you have to, use it. It's 24/7, night and day. Use it. You can even text. You can text, what's that? Help or information to 233-733.
Mhm.
So use it. Put it in your phone, like Don said, really be ready to use it. Be ready to rescue someone, to help someone be rescued, be found. This is something the predators are counting on us being quiet.
And you can, and even if you're not sure, it's better for you to use it and
Absolutely.
be wrong and not, and then find out later you
You were
didn't
right.
do it and it was somebody's life you could have
Hmm.
saved. But I'm just thank God for this information, Kamiko. This is really a great topic, and I am just full right now because there's so much things about sex trafficking. You really have to go and learn more about what you can do, because like we mentioned, it's on a whole different level. It's all
Yeah.
over the place. And the other thing she mentioned, Kamika said about right here in Atlanta, it's full. So I know California is known as one of the most populous state because of the
Mhm.
gateway and the borders and all this kind of stuff, and Atlanta is too. But it doesn't matter. It hits everybody. Even Texas is listed. I mean, but those are the places that has the highest report of this sex trafficking. So they're monitoring, people are tracking, people are taking
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
but they can't do it by themselves. You have to be the one to help and report. But before we go, I want to make some announcements. So I don't know if Kamiko, you have anything else you wanted to add before we go into our announcements?
I just want us to, do our part as citizens. It goes further than color. It goes further than race. It goes further than whether you're Christian or not. It goes further than that. It's about being a human being at this point. So think about it as if it were you or
Hmm.
if it were your child. what would you want the person to do?
Mhm.
What would you want? And that thing that you would want them to do, that's what you do.
Yes.
That's what you do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining in with us. I do want to announce that we have several things that's going on for this month, and I'm also part of LCCI, which is a Life Changes Club International. I do want to announce there is a love movement that's going on this Saturday, and I would love for you all to, join in, and register for that. It starts at 6 o'clock. It is free. It's going to be on Facebook and so forth. But I'm going to try to put the link into the chat. And the other thing I want to announce is that I'm going to pull this up. We have next week, we have two big events that's not big, but events that's coming up. But the first event is going to be our Harvest Success Seminar. I'm excited about that seminar, but I really want for you to be, mindful. It's a seminar that is dressing for success, and it's a 3-day intensive workshop. But we're doing the first day on next Saturday, which is the 19th, and we want you to join that seminar. It's at 10 a.m., 10 to 12. And I would like for you to also check out our website and happyharvestministry.org, and you'll get more information. You register, you can start filling out application. It is very intense, and the first day is going to be very informative and kind of like prepare you for the next one. So really what we're looking forward for you to register and to support Happy Harvest in that sense. This is for the women or men who are really struggling and know how to get their career going, get their life going, get their just digging into that area of their life and helping them to be successful as individuals in our community and in their walk. So it's to help build purpose, help pursue you in your purpose and in your endeavor, and teaching you about different tips and ways of how to be successful in your application, your resumes, and even in your life. It's a mind change alteration. So we're looking forward for you in that sense. And I just want to, inform you about Happy Harvest Roundtable, which will be at 6 p.m. that night. The 6 p.m. that night, all of this is Eastern Standard because we're in Eastern Zone. And it's just a roundtable that we're going to be doing for we have that every third Saturday, and it's a time of love. So we're going to be the month of February is all about love, and we're going to be, having a great discussion about love and being limited or not, and so forth. So we're looking for you to join us on Happy Harvest table discussion on next week. So those are the two big events that's coming up for Happy Harvest, and then the love campaign for LCCI Life Changes Club International. And I think Kamika has some announcements too with Visible Roots. So we have a whole lot of stuff going on. So you can't say, hey, I wasn't informed.
Right, right, right. So what we got going on with Visible Roots, we're going to be going into our quarterly um, um, homeless event. So we have a Warming Hearts project, which is our homeless event. We do it quarterly. So we'll be going into that, and I'll bring you more information. So it'll be in March or April. We're still working out some things with that. But if you have any kind of donations that you want to give, whether it be monetary or items, we're taking everything because we do there. We have the men, the women, children, um, teenagers, older, younger, all ages, all ages are out there. So if you're going through your closet and you see some lightly used items that you want to donate, you're welcome to do that. You can call that number at 470-403-8401 or email, which is better, show those roots at gmail.com. Everything that we give, we do give it out to them. We give toiletries, we give food, we give clothing, we give shoes, We give, different things that they can use just being out there to make things, a little bit easier for them as much as we can. So we want to do that. Like I said, I'll be giving more dates as to when, but it's coming up here soon. We start to market it here. We start now to market then because we do take the donations. If you want to give monetarily, you can. We have a what is it? A cash app. I'm trying to put that up there. We have a cash app that we have, and it's $ visible roots. That's our cash app. If you want to give monetarily, you can give there. We are nonprofited, so all of your donations are tax deductible. So also we have a day of prayer that's coming up, and I'll be bringing you more about that as well. So thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you so much for coming on Free Talk Friday. We love this. It is awesome. So we just so grateful to have you guys on, share these videos, bring your topics, send them to us. Either you can send it to Visible Roots or Happy Harvest, either one, our email addresses. You can send in your ideas or topics that you would like us to discuss, and we would definitely have a look at it, take it into consideration, pray about it, and we're gonna keep this thing going. So we're just so grateful for you, and we're thankful. So share these videos. Share them, share them, share
And
them.
here is the flyer for the love movement. It's the love languages, expressing love. And this is Saturday at 6 p.m. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. So please, 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 join us this Saturday. It's going to be great. Bring your spouse, your loved one. If you're single, that's okay too. So join us on Facebook Live, and then you can also register at the link I'm going to put in the chat section because I really want us to be able to. Uh, you can also join in. You can join in on the Zoom session. So looking forward to seeing you guys on that aspect.
Amen. Amen. Well, we thank you again for coming out, and please visit with us again next Friday at 10 a.m. We'll be here, supposed to be, an hour, but yeah, y'all know us by now. Look, so we try to get off here on time, but if the topic is real, real, real good, we just, we go as long as we need to. But we thank you guys for hanging in there with us. We love you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
I mean, here we go.